Let's go on to Roman numerals and labeling the triads that we get in a major and in a minor key. I've started here by writing out the C major scale, scale degree 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so forth. And then on top of each note, I built a triad using the notes of the scale. So here, stacked in thirds above the C, we have C, E, G, and so forth. And now we're able to label each one of these triads with its own Roman numeral. The Roman numeral corresponds to the scale degree that the triad is built on. So this is Roman numeral 1, the 1 chord. The next chord is labeled with 2. Then we have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and back to 1. You'll notice that some of the Roman numerals are capital and some of the Roman numerals are small. Why is that? Well, the capital ones are for the triads that happen to be major in the scale. C, E, G is major. The small Roman numerals tell us that the triad is minor. Are any of these triads something else? Is there a diminished triad in this pattern? Yes, there is. If we look at the 7 triad, B, D, F, that has a diminished quality. So we'll put the little circle by that. And now we have the complete set of triads that you get from the major scale. This pattern of major and minor chords is created by the pattern of whole and half steps in the scale, and it holds true for every major scale. Whether we're in C or another key, we're always going to have the 1 chord is major and the 2 chord is minor, and so forth. Let's go down and do the same thing with the minor scale. So I've written out the C harmonic minor scale. Those are the lower notes here, and then built up triads above each scale degree using the harmonic minor scale mostly. And in a moment, you'll see where that varies. But let's put in Roman numerals for these chords. The 1 chord, the 2 chord, the 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and the 1 on the top. So we see how the qualities change: minor for the 1, diminished for the 2, and so forth. Now, what's the one discrepancy between what I've written here and the harmonic minor scale? Well, you know the harmonic minor scale leaves scale degree 6 alone, so that's A flat, and it raises the leading tone. We did that in the 7 chord. We did that in the 5 chord, but not in the 3 chord. According to the harmonic minor scale, this should be a B natural, and that would cause the 3 chord to be augmented. The augmented 3 chord does occur in music sometimes, and to get it, we just have to raise the leading tone. But the pattern of chords that I've given you here, let's change it back, represents the most common chords that you'll find in a minor key, with 3 as a major chord, 5 as a major chord, and 7 as a diminished. You'll remember that in studying scales, I encouraged you to think of scale degree 6 and 7 as variable in a minor key. So anytime scale degree 6 occurs in one of these chords, for example, in the 4 chord, scale degree 6 is there, it's possible to use a raised 6 and get a major 4 chord. It's possible to raise 6 over here, and then we would get a diminished 6 chord. Any of these chords that contains an A flat or a B flat can be raised or lowered, so there are 2 versions of the chord. That's fine. We'll deal with those in music as they turn up, but In this course, in your first semester of theory, for the vast majority of time, we're going to stick to these chords. Let's compare the two sets of Roman numerals. We'll see that they're almost all different. Here, one is major, one is minor. 2 is minor, 2 is diminished. 3 is minor, 3 is major. Which two chords are the same? We find that the 5 chord in the major version and in the minor set of chords is the same. So 5 and 5 are the same. And we have the diminished 7 triad here and here. Those two are the same from scale to scale. All the other ones are different. Why would that be? Well, the most important and strongest progression in tonal music is 5-to-1 resolution that can happen in major or in minor. It sounds like this. Here's 5-to-1 in major. Here it is in minor. In both cases, we need that leading tone. There's the B natural to be raised to get that really satisfying resolution. Here it is in minor. If we don't raise the leading tone, we still have a decent progression. Here's minor 5 going to 1. That's what we would have if we didn't raise the 7th degree in this scale. If we just left a B flat there, this would be G, B flat, D. 5 would be minor, like that. And then our 5-to-1 would sound like this. It's just not as satisfying or as propulsive as when we have a leading tone. The 7 chord works the same way. 7-to-1 is a strong progression. It sounds like this. Or in minor. And it's just much more satisfying to have the leading tone present. Here it is without the leading tone in minor. It's still a strong progression, but doesn't have this momentum. That's why composers all through the late Baroque, classical period would borrow the major 5 and the diminished 7 from major to use for their progressions that went from 5-to-1 and 7-to-1, even when they're in a minor key. Okay, you should memorize these patterns, the major, minor, minor, major, and you can always recreate them just by writing out the chords this way and looking and seeing what qualities they have. Here you have to know to raise the leading tone except on 3, but then you can just look at the notes and see D, F, A flat, oh, that's diminished. So we know that 2 is a diminished triad in a minor key. Okay, let's do a little drill. Let's decide to write out some chords based on their Roman numerals. So in the key of C major, that's what C colon, we're going to write a 5 chord. In the key of B flat minor, we're going to write a 4 chord. In the key of G major, we're going to write a 7 chord. So if you have paper, you can work along with me and do this, or you can pause it and do it yourself and then see if it agrees with what I do. I'll just go ahead and do this now. So get a clef. And the way we read these is in C major, I want the triad that's built on the 5th degree of the scale, and it's going to turn out to be a major triad. I know that because it's capital. So what's the 5th degree of the C major scale? G. So I just build a triad on G. That's what we get, and it is major, so this is a correct answer for that one. In B flat minor, let's use our key signature. Put a bar line there, so this is like a new little bit of music. That's our B flat minor key signature. I got that by writing the major key signature, 2 flats, and adding 3 flats to it. Now we want to write the 4 chord in B flat minor. So we find scale degree 4 and build a triad on it. That's all there is to it. The 4th degree of the B flat minor scale is B flat, C, D flat, E flat, 1, 2, 3, 4. So here's our root. And the key signature takes care of the proper accidentals on these notes. E flat, G flat, B flat is a minor triad. It's built on 4, so we're done with that one. Let's go to the key of G major. In G major, we want the 7 diminished chord, so we simply go to scale degree 7 and build a triad. The key signature will take care of the quality for us. So the 7th degree of the G scale is F sharp. Build our triad, F, A, C, and that's our 7 diminished triad. We can confirm the quality. F sharp to A is a minor third, A to C is a minor third, so this does come out to be a diminished triad. So you'll be doing work like this in your homework. Roman numerals can be used in conjunction with figured bass to create a notation that we call RNFB. RNFB is something you'll be hearing a lot about in this course. It's our most common notation labeling system for the harmonies that we use, and it means Roman numeral plus figured bass. Roman numeral and figured bass. So earlier this week we learned about figured bass symbols, and those are there to tell us what inversion to put the chord in. RNFB, Roman numerals plus figured bass. That means I could ask you something like this. In the key of A minor, to write me a 5-6 chord. Now what does this mean? It means that we're going to think in the key of A minor, write the 5 triad, which we know how to do now, and then put that triad in first inversion, because you'll remember that the figured bass symbol 6 means the chord is in first inversion. So let's go through that, and we'll do this in at least 2 steps. We'll start by just writing the 5 chord in the key of A minor, and then we'll invert it. So first, key signature. We have that already, no sharps and no flats. The 5 chord we'll construct by finding scale degree 5 in the key of A. So E, G, B. And we'll remember from this sheet that we were just looking at, in a minor key, to get that major 5 quality, we have to raise the leading tone. So let's go back here and do that to our triad that we have. And now we have the 5 chord in the key of A minor. Let's put it in first inversion, and that'll be our actual answer to this problem. So remember, first inversion simply means that the third of the chord is in the bass. The G sharp is the third of the chord. So we'll write that there as the beginning of our answer. The B can stay where it is. And we'll get the E into the chord out of the way up here, so the G sharp is alone on the bottom. And that is our answer right there. 5-6 chord in the key of A minor. Let's do another one. In the key of D major, I am going to ask you for the 2-6 chord. All right, so we start by writing the correct key signature. Now, the Roman numeral 2 tells us we need a triad built on scale degree 2, which is E. So we'll build a triad On E, this is our scratch work here, just to look at the notes. And we know that in a major key, we don't alter any scale degree with accidentals the way we do in minor. And so we have the 2 part of it. Now we need to make this 2/6 by putting that in first inversion. So it's actually the same letter name notes that we just used. So the 2/6 chord is like that. So here's our answer. The 2/6 chord in the key of D major is G on the bottom, B, and E. Let's do another one. In the key of E major, let's write the 5/6/4 chord. Key signature first, F, C, G, D. This tells us we're building a triad on scale degree 5. Scale degree 5 in that key is a B. Just take those notes and build the triad. Now we put this triad in 6/4 position and we'll have our answer. 6/4 position is second inversion, meaning the 5th of the chord is in the bass, so F sharp is the lowest sounding note, and put the other notes of the chord above it, and we're done. So that's the 5/6/4 chord in the key of E. Let's just do 2 more like this. In the key of G minor, we're going to do a 2/6 chord. In the key of D minor, we'll do the 7/6 chord. The reason I want to do 2 more minor chords is to just emphasize this. Here's the sheet where we originally wrote out the Roman numerals. When you're in a minor key, we do have to pay attention to raising the leading tone. If we want to have a major 5, which is most common, we have to raise the leading tone. If we want a diminished 7 chord, that has to be built on a root of the raised leading tone. 2 is diminished without any accidental. All right, back to our problem. Key of G minor, B flat and E flat. We want to build a triad on scale degree 2, and it should be diminished. Scale degree 2 in this key is A, and build the triad C and E flat. That is diminished. Now we just put it in first inversion by putting the 3rd of the chord in the bass and the other 2 notes above it. So that's it, and we're done. That's the answer there. This is just scratch work, so you can do that on your paper, but this is the answer you would turn in. In the key of D minor, let's change key. Here's the key signature for D minor, 1 flat. We need to find scale degree 7, and what is that? We just reviewed this. We have to raise the leading tone to get the diminished triad in any minor key. So we're just getting our pitches right here. So C sharp is going to be the root of that chord. We'll build the triad above it, E and G. Those are our notes. Now we put this triad in first inversion, meaning the 3rd of the chord will be our bass note. So the E, the G, and put the C sharp up there. So that's our answer. 7/6 chord looks like that. This was just scratch work so we could see what tones were in the chord. Okay, we've come a long way, all the way to being able to look at a Roman numeral with figured bass, figure out what the chord is, and put it in the proper inversion for triads in any major or minor key.